Read Billionaires Games by J.L. Gold. Level 2, Track 2, 1 of 1. Huva Sibja, the sister of the protagonist. As one of the 20 to 25 million living in her district of Nusora, within the capital region of Yoseburg, Huva Sibja lives a pleasingly regular, simple life. She could well be your sister, pretty and inquisitive, sometimes wearing glasses, and sometimes not. She has a mutt puppy dog she loves and calls Hardin, and she both lives and works in Nusora, which is adjacent to the historic and ancient capital region of Old Sora. Nusora is lush with hanging gardens, much like Old Sora, and the central command location of many of the official agencies of the Unity government of Pangaea. Like your average Pangaean, Sibja looks up at the night sky and dreams about visiting the moon, or maybe even Skyhaven, which can be a journey of only 40 days, or up to 10 months, to travel to or from Pangaea. She takes the Yoseburg multi-way transit system to go to work at the Unity Currency Crimes Investigator's offices in her UCCI uniform every 4 out of 7 days a week. She has a fraught relationship with her only living relative, her brother Savisto. They haven't spoken in years, in fact. Sibja hasn't thought about him since the last day they spoke. She's too busy with work most of the time anyway. So much so, Sibja hardly notices much of the world going on outside of her daily life, except for the Billionaires Games, her guilty pleasure, and mild parasocial obsession. Sibja checks the Unity Wealth Tracker several times a day, which publicly lists the wealth of any individual or private entity ticking above 1 million. Most citizens and citizen candidates of Pangaea watch the Unity Wealth Tracker too, since any individual or responsible member of a private entity achieving 1 billion in wealth at any given time is automatically entered into the battlefield of play in the Billionaires Games at the Vermette Arena. At work, Sibja and her partner clone, PC Huva Data, sift through reams of financial records and reports in her role as a Unity Currency Crimes Investigator. The job may sound glamorous, but in reality, it involves a great deal of research and analysis. The amount of detail work would be unmanageable for Huva Sibja without PC Huva Data. Sibja never ceases to be amazed by the creativity of multimillionaires' financial shell games as they try to vanish their Unity wealth to avoid billionaire status and thus automatic entry into the battlefield of play in the Billionaires Games. Rather than actively reducing their wealth accumulation, some, though not all, multimillionaires strategize both to retain their Unity wealth over accumulation and to avoid automatic entry into the game's battlefield of play. Sibja justifiably considers her parasocial interest in all things Billionaires Games to be currency crimes work relevant. On her commutes, and at work and at home, she avidly watches and listens to big programming. She watches and listens to little else professionally or recreationally. Though PC Huva Data does the heavy lifting of financial data collection and research and analysis, Huva Sibja reviews and finalizes the reports PC Huva Data drafts. Sibja wants to know and understand everything PC Huva Data knows and understands, rather than overly depend on her PC, as she knows many others do theirs. Sibja tries to view her partner clone as a true partner in life and in work. When Sibja does complain about her caseload from time to time, her best friend, Shaman Priant, and Unity Supreme Red Court Justice, encourages her to rely on and trust more in her PC, or to find something less intensive and tedious. While everyone on Pangaea is obligated to contribute positively to Unity society, no one is required to stay in a job role they may find overwhelming or personally unsuitable. There are billions of citizens on Pangaea. More than a few of them would be fine letting their PCs handle the bulk of their work at the Currency Crimes Investigators. But Sibja doesn't actively dislike her job at the UCCI. In school, she studied finance with a focus on forensic accounting. She could be an accountant for a guild or some other civilian agency, but that lacks the luster of working at the UCCI, an actual agency of the Unity government of Pangaea. Siva jokes that the best thing about her job is her UCCI uniform and her UCCI badge. Having the badge especially makes her feel like every investigator she's seen in a movie. In reality, though, her investigative work, along with PC Huva data, contributes to corrections in Unity Wealth reporting, and therefore to whom was granted automatic entry into the battlefield play in the Billionaires Games. Seeing the results of her work ripple out into the greater world of the games is the best part of Siva's job as a currency crimes investigator. It gives her a tingle of excitement every time a correction in financial figures is publicly reported and shows up on the Unity Wealth Tracker. Siva feels a little thrill each time a billionaire she helps nab enters the black and white Vermette Arena for their training and battles phases of the games. Siva may complain from time to time about this or about that, but she does truly enjoy her detail-oriented work